Bercy, the crowd here being entertained by the pom-pom girls. The Open de Nation, the first. The break now between the programmes. So far we've had all the preliminary rounds, and now we're going into the second half of the programme. It's been a real good night of activity. The whole of the stadium is absolutely buzzing. It's nearly full, 90% full. And when I explained to you that the seats cost between 100 francs and 150 francs, that's between £12.50 and £20. Those who did not decide to turn up at Manchester must be scratching their head and say, how do the French do it? Well, they've got a cracking programme tonight. We've seen some brilliant racing, and we're going to bring you later on tonight all the action, which will be into the third and fourth places for the Vitesse par équipes. That's the team sprint, and the first and second places too. The individual pursuit will be on tonight too. The sprint for the finals for the 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th places, and then the ride-off for the third and fourth places, followed by the ride-off for first and second. We're also going to have a devil take the hindmost, 16 riders on the track, and then the final between the team pursuit, which is going to be between Germany and France. Amazingly, that the Australians, the world champions, knocked back into 5th spot. The Australians having, I think, a few problems. They've been travelling since Colombia. They've been over to Australia. They've come back here, and the poor lads, I think, are absolutely jet-lagged by them moving backwards and forwards. So after the team pursuit without the Australians, we then have the Tour Lance, 8 riders on the track, and then we have the awards ceremony just before midnight, all being well. Some flashbacks here on your screen showing the riders in action before we get underway. In the background you might hear the sound of the pom-pom girls, and I must at this point say that walking down underneath the track, there I saw the pom-pom girls changing room. Thank you, Mr. Hubner. Doesn't look very happy, does he? Well, he's in fine form tonight, by the way. He's sprinting rather well indeed. But I'm talking about the pom-pom girls changing room, and just across the corridor I discovered a notice on the door of another changing room, and there it says Graham Aubrey, who's riding here on Monday night. And below it I saw another name of a Russian lady, Slursaleva, who's also riding here. I'm not quite sure whether they're changing in the same room on the same night, but something tells me, in fact, looking at the programme, there's about 24 hours between the two people occupying that room. I couldn't find Chris Boardman's room to see who he's sharing with, but I suspect it might be Felicia Boulanger. And you see in the background there, the Skoda sign there on the banking, white lettering on the green background. Well, Skoda are sponsoring Felicia Boulanger because they have a car called the Felicia car, as the pom-pom girls, all American by the way, leave the centre of the stage, having entertained the crowd during what they call in France the entr'acte. So bienvenue, and welcome to Paris for the Open des Nations. 16,000 spectators packed this stadium last year, and it looks to me, looking around the crowd, that we're going to have a bigger audience this year. And I hope if some of you have still got Monday off, you might like to find your way over to Paris to watch Graham Aubrey and Chris Boardman in action. If you want to bury your grandmother, do whatever you have to do on a Monday to come across and be entertained in Paris. There we are. Told you some idea of the size of the crowd. Not many seats empty at all, and everybody is here to, I'm sure, applaud the performers, but most of all, every time somebody wearing a French jersey gets on the track, the whole place absolutely erupts. Just looking there at Martin Nostheim, the rider for the third and fourth places in the sprint for the teams. One rider takes the lead to begin with, and then he pulls over, the next rider takes the next lap, and the third man goes through. This is rider for third and fourth places, and the concentration on the face of the American team against the Italians on the track at the moment. America on the left, Italy on the right. The rider for third and fourth places. And there the man in the blue with the microphone in his hand, Daniel Monjas, the speaker, moving away from the track as the riders get underway now. Daniel Monjas, his voice well known to people who listen to the Tour de France, the background, the dulcet tones of old Daniel, talking to all and sundry up and down the length and breadth of France. And there they go. Still the Americans losing by just a sniff, and on the final bell lap they're still down 0.122. Well, that was close in the end. 46.406 Americans and the 46.20 whatever it was to the Italians, so they just sniffed that one through and took the third spot in the point score. The points then 10, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. So on that occasion then the Italians taking 6 points and America taking 5 points in the Open de Nation. What they have in this program are 8 nations. In fact, there are 7 plus 2 French teams. 8 nations with 8 riders each, and those 8 riders have to take part in various different sorts of sprinting, road pursuing, double take the hindmost, behind the dernies and what have you. So you get a whole mixture of riders coming here. But Italy now moving into the third spot before we get the ride off for first and second. And the points going through to see who'll win the Open de Nation by Monday night. The Australians getting up now to compete in the Vitesse par équipe, the final 3 laps of the track.
À la piste française est une des meilleures du monde. L'Australie également, le match remet d'être âpre, moins de 30 secondes. 20 secondes.
13 world champions taking part in this event. Here, Daniel Moran with the French team. And there they go, and in fact the French have really got to work hard tonight. They won the Open de Nation in 1994, they won it in 1993. In 1992 the Germans won the overall Open de Nation, and France won it in 91. So they've only been beaten once in the last 4 years, and now here they go to see if they can score more points then to keep their nation ahead. Remember, it goes right the way through till Monday night, but the Australians a bit, I think, jet-lagged by their travelling backwards and forwards across the world. The world champions on their way through. In fact, they're not the world champions at this Vitesse sprint. The Germans are. They've already been eliminated out of this race. And who's going to get this one then? On the left-hand side of the screen. In fact, the Australians are up at the moment. The Australians are just marginally ahead of the French, and they're going like stink on the line. 46.222 goes the Australians against the French. That was so close. Wow, that was some race. Australia sniffed the victory. Watch the pair as they set off away here, these all-conquering Australian squad against the French. And here Russo coming in, the final man in their squad. Manet Moreau and Rousseau being the three French riders. But they just could not quite match the Australians, who've now taken the lead. And there you can see the Australians have 10 points for the Vitesse par équipe. Italy 8 points, France back into third with 6. A nearly packed house tonight. Well, Shane Bannon, the coach tonight of the Australian squad, will be happy with that. When I had a chat to him earlier on in the evening, Charlie Walsh not with the team. I think Charlie's taking well-deserved rest at the moment. And he was telling me, in fact, that looking forward to Atlanta, the Australian squad will be back together in November. And except for a short break for Christmas, they're going to be all together right the way through to the Olympic Games at Atlanta. Just show the dedication, the sponsorship, the support which is being given to track racers across the world. And France have got such a strong squad tonight. They've not only brought on their major team of Boss, Ermenau, Magnin, Monin, Moreau, Rousseau and Chouet. They've also got an Espoir squad as well, because Belgium backed out at the last minute. And already we've seen the Espoir squad in fine form too. But now the ride-off for the final of the individual pursuit. Ermenau and Frederick. This man nearly caught his opponent in qualifying. There they go, so the French versus the Americans. And this is going to be something of a surprise, I think, if the American gets this one, but he's been going very well so far indeed. Down fraction at the moment is Fredericks against Ermenau. Until he's down, this is not going to be a good night as far as he's concerned. The French have been out to the Atlanta track training on that one too in a competition just about 5 days ago, and I'm sure they're still tired by their activities. Doesn't look like he's flying tonight. Looks like he's come back now, and I think he's going to get Fredericks. He's so close between these 2.7 at 5.9 at the moment. The crowd is absolutely stamping their feet and urging this one on. Now really has put the hammer down, and in fact 1.328 Looks like he's rolling away right now. On the bell, and the roof is going to be blown off the Bercy Stadium, and he's really got the edge of him now. The American at 1.66 down. Hermano is really riding into victory here to give France maximum points in the individual pursuit. Another 10 points going to France at the moment. That's it. 159 to the American in arrears, but the Americans get themselves 8 points. Hermano now being loved by the crowd here. You can sense the atmosphere. It's absolutely electric. Why can't we have this in Manchester? I just don't know. It is just something out of a very special bag indeed. But to just sample the atmosphere and to see track racing at this level, the Tour de France have got a good mixture. 8 nations, 8 riders. Even though they've had a very, very hard season, riding the World Cups, riding the World Championship, the riders tonight, when you see them training on the rollers down the track centre, dedicate themselves to racing tonight like it's the first time on the track in front of their public. They really have served up a tremendous bill this evening. Superb, absolutely brilliant performance. So the riders getting ready for the next end on the programme, and we're going to take a short break. Don't go away, back shortly with more activity.
Just say that.
This is the ride-off then for the 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th place at the moment. On the front and going very quickly indeed is the Danish rider, Brian Dandenel. Can he hold it right the way down into the finishing straight? Bill Clay from the American squad is lying back third at the moment, and Kiepo just is behind him, and the Frenchman is trying to come through at the moment. Still Dandenel is on the front, going down in toward the finish straight. Still Dandenel is trying to hold him off. Can he do it? And there we go. Yes, that's it. Well, that was a look back at the rudder for the 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th place, which went to Brian Dandenel of Denmark, giving his team just 4 points. And now we're moving on to the rudder for the 3rd and 4th place. 3 laps of the track. Sudden death this job, by the way. We don't have all the repecharges and umpteen heats we get in World Championships, and amazingly here to ride for 3rd and 4th place is the reigning world sprint champion downhill against Magny, the reigning Kieran champion. 13 champions of the world. The reason that downhill is wearing the World Championship jersey and Magny is not is that this is a sprint, and therefore downhill can wear the sprinter's jersey as world champion, whereas Magny, if he came to the Kieran, would be able to wear the World Championship jersey. So you can only wear your jersey in the actual event that you won that championship of the world. So Magny, the 26-year-old champion of the world for the Kieran, now watching downhill, who surprised everybody's sheer speed, aggression and total commitment in Colombia. But the French here you can sense the way they're going to will their man, Manye, who's been a good all-rounder, sprinting. Kieran, tandem racing. Has his work cut out, but in second spot now, using all this track then to try and outwit the Australian who's in the front at the moment. The world champion has got the legs at the moment. Manye's closing down on him. We've seen Manye when he took that Kieran champion, he came suddenly from nowhere to go through past everybody else. Can he do it tonight? Then still Hill on the bottom. Hard tries all his men up, but he's not going to do it. Manye's doing the same thing he did at the Kieran in the World Championship. He took that one from nowhere, he came straight through, and everybody here is overjoyed except the Australians. So much can happen, so much can change in just a few short days. And I think fatigue is setting in with the Australians, but certainly they're entertaining the crowd tonight. You can see the generous gesture there from downhill to acknowledge the way in which Manye came past him down that finishing straight, as he did in the Kieran Championship of the World, when he took everybody's surprise to take the gold medal. Look at the size of his thighs. If you walk down amongst this track centre, just there, the green bit where the riders are, the size of the thighs of the riders, it makes your eyes water. They're enormous, these chaps. This one isn't, by the way. He's what I call quite slim compared with people like Michael Hubner. But the reigning Olympic champion coming up here onto the track, Jens Fiedler, in the final of the individual sprint. And quite surprisingly against the Olympic kilometre champion Moreno, also world champion, but of course he got pushed well back at Colombia when Kelly broke the world record. In fact, we saw early on this evening Kelly and Russo ride over 500 metres when Kelly beat the Frenchman as one of the entertaining events of the evening. Each night there's some special event put on, and that was the 500 metre standing start sprint between Kelly and Russo, which was won by Kelly. But now the one-time kilometre champion of the world and reigning reigning Olympic kilo champion on the front at the moment, Moreno, followed by Jens Fiedler. He also collected a gold medal this year in the World Championships as the member of the team sprint with Hubner and Van Eyden. Well, Moreno got through into the final here because Hill was disqualified earlier on, so technically I would have thought that we should have seen Fiedler and Hill together, but Moreno was switched by Hill, and so he's come through into the final when Hill got disqualified. Hill then losing out to Manye, and now is Fiedler going to get this one? He should do on paper, get this one, or should I say on the boards, because here on the wood track in Bercy, Fiedler showing all his power going down the straight, and did he get that one? He seemed to ease up, and he didn't get it. Amazing. Fiedler thought he got that one absolutely stitched up. And he's smiling. He just could not believe the way in which Marino came through. I just hope we see an action replay of that one, because all the way down the finishing straight it looked like cut and dried as far as the German rider was concerned, and then up popped Moreno. To take the first place in the individual sprint. Now then, if you people out there want us to occupy yourself on a Saturday evening at 11:30 in the UK, because it's 11:30 also in France at the moment, because we haven't changed the clocks back in the UK, as I understand yet, so we're all at the same timetable. If you believe your eyes will stay open and you haven't propped up with matchsticks, this is the bit, by the way, where 16 riders are on the track, and it's the last man over the line who gets eliminated. I'll just check. I think it's every other lap at the moment on the old rules here, and every second lap, you see, 2 riders per nation, and after that they're going to add together the points obtained by the riders. Bit complicated, by the way, but so they have 2 riders per nation, and they're going to decide when they come out, and the judges will get their computer going and decide which nation wins the elimination race. But don't forget, it's the man at the back, the tail end Charlie, what we call the devil take the hindmost. No, he's not going to shoot somebody. He's got, there we are, they're underway now. They have 2 laps to go, and it's eyes down looking for the man at the back, not the man at the front. And with 16 riders on the track, it gets a bit busy. Well, the early laps anyway. The Americans getting well towards the front, keeping out of trouble. At the moment, looking very, very difficult indeed. At the back of this little squad, the Danish rider, that's Klaus Kunder. Has he made it? Whoops! Yeah, I think he has. He squashed out the Australian. Which one was it? Duels it was. 12 then. So Shane Kelly, the reigning kilometre champion of the world, who just was a sniff outside at 1 minute for the kilometre in the World Championship, has now been taken out the squad. You can see some fast movement as riders go towards, well, in fact, number 12 is still in. They call Doos out. Number 12 should be out by now, but Doos again. Well, and also 17 called that time, so 12 and 17. It looks like both of the Australians are out there now. Shaughnessy, I tell you, this is a nightmare. At the back, in all sorts of trouble at the moment, is Francis Mullo of France, but he's moved over the top, and I'm not quite sure if he got out of trouble. No, in fact, it wasn't. It was number 58, Herb Touet, eliminated. Aha! They've taken out the Danish right at the bottom of the track. Ooh, the booing going on here. But they're quite happy, I think, for Kinder to go. No, he says, I can't be me. You must be joking. No, I don't believe that either. So Herb Touet lives again and goes out the front, but put his teammate at the bottom in all sorts of trouble. So Eric Mannion got the chop that time. Two from Italy still left, 2 from America, 2 from Germany. 1 from Denmark, 1 from Spain. Here we go. Eyes down, looking, still living danger at the back then. Herb Touet sweeps over the top and puts the American at the bottom of the track. So down he goes. Looks like Zach Conrad. Still the Italians have 2 men in. Still the Germans have 2 men in. And the French, by the way, if you look, lots of French jerseys, there are 2 French teams, one the Espoir and one from France, and they're very difficult to decide which is which, but the Italian got chopped that time. So Capitano out. Germany still having 2 men in there at the moment. Spain 2. I think the Espoirs from France are still in there. I think they've still got 2 men in here, so that's good riding by the young lads from France who came and take the place of the Belgians, and they're on the line. Chop, chop, chop. Ooh. That's the son of Daniel Moron. He's been chopped out now, so they've got 1 from the main French squad still in there, 1 from the Espoir, the young French team as well. But the Germans still rolling round, 2 of them in there. And 2 from Spain. Looks like the French are still going to sit in the hot seat at the back. Watch this one. It took out 2 of the Spanish riders in 1 hit then. They have the worried look like somebody's trying to find somewhere to park his car, having just gone down the Champs-Élysées, around the Concorde and back up again 10 times in all. Because trying to park a car in Paris is very difficult indeed. Most of the time people end up parking on the pavement and hoping they'll get towed away. Two of the Germans still in there. Looks like the French young just going to get the chop this time. Oh no, Italy. So Federico Parry taking out that one. Lots and lots of points going to Germany, trying to battle, I think, to stack up a few points here. They've still got 2 men left. The French have 2, 1 for the main squad, 1 for the Espoir squad, and at the back, the troubles for the Germans. Just gets away with it, but only just. So that's not appreciated by the crowd at the moment. Herb Toué taking out that one. Bronze medalist in the World Championship for the team sprint, now taken out, so they've just got the Espoir lad left in here at the moment, and here we go this time. The Germans are going to get chopped this time, and they've, oh, that's out. Goodbye. Pack your bag. So Van Eyden, gold medalist in the team sprint this year at the World Championships and a past junior sprint champion, taken out. So we've got 1 from America, 1 from France, 1 from Spain, 1 from Denmark, and 1 from the France Espoir still in there at the moment. Who's the chop this time? Au revoir, French national squad. I thought he came out before Herb Toué, but obviously for some reason or other, despite the fact they called his number, they must have decided that he could stay in there. I don't quite understand, but I got him down on my list as being for an early bath, but not so. He survived. Well, for Alzamara, that's it. But it's very complicated because they have to take into account when it's all over and done with the placing of the 2 riders. and then they position them overall at the end of it all. So I can't tell who's won this one yet, but it certainly seems to me that the Danish and Americans could both sort this one out. And who goes this time? Woo! Out goes the American. So, goodbye. Ooh. I don't believe that. I thought Dirk Copeland got chopped at that time. They were Calantois, but they've decided to leave Dirk Copeland in there. And so as far as France is concerned, they don't care who got the mistake on that one. But I would have thought that the Danish riders stayed away from this one. And right now he's jumping up and down and say, come on then for Serge Barbara. Can he get it coming down the field? But no, he can't. So Dirk Copeland gets it just ahead of Serge Barbara. I think he was rather lucky there, but the last elimination I rather thought he got the chop, but there you are. I'm not a judge and I'm not sitting very close to where the line is at the moment, but half the trouble is I had to make a split-second judgment, and looking up there, it chopped out the Spaniard, and so Dirk Copeland rode on to be the victor, but have to take the positions of his teammates. Before deciding the points. One thing about these Open National, because of these quick racing, it's not like your normal, well drawn out, laborious track meetings where they have heat after heat after heat, and then gaps between them when people aren't ready. As soon as one event's over, the next one is coming up, and that they have to be on time, they have to be there, and it's good entertainment, and the crowd love it. There's something going all the time. It's a sudden death job. You can't finesse, you can't come back to repechage. You just have to be on form, on the line, on the occasion, riding for your nation. And with 8 riders representing 8 nations, or in fact 7 nations plus 2 from France, 2 teams from France, it means that the whole thing's electric, because they have to decide to put which riders into which event all the way through. You only have 8 riders, you perm them all through, and so some ride this, some ride that. You get off your bike, you have a quick rub down with a hot flannel, and off you go onto your bicycle. You warm up on the rolls, you're back on again. It's constant entertainment. On then to the final between France and Germany for the team pursuit. Francois Moreau, ex-pursuit champ of the world, representing France in this one against the very strong German squad that have been so dominating team pursuits over the years. So for Germany, Guido Fulst, Jens Lehmann, Daniel Honda and Robert Bartko against the French squad. There they go, Francis Moreau, Philippe Hermenot, Cyril Boss and Jean-Michel Monin, and already they've started at a great rate of knots. Just trailing at the moment, the French squad. by just .197. And they're gathering up momentum now, the German squad beginning to put the pressure on here. The French are going to need all encouragement from the crowd, who are urging their team on and on and on. They're coming back, .297. What about this time check? Have they got back there? .6, no, it's yo-yoing. They've gone back again, .619. The French are desperately trying to dig something out here. And the Germans have just got the edge still, but it's only .262. This is a German team going flat out at the moment. It's so close. It's the third man that counts. And the teams are together, but the French are beginning to lose ground now. Suddenly they've gone to nearly 1 second down as the machine here begins to get well-oiled and move into action. .828. Suddenly it's gone past the 1 second gap, and it could be all over by the shouting. .479, the French are coming back, and they've opened the gap though. The third man to count, and he's lost the wheel. He's lost the wheel, the gaps are opening up now, they're getting suddenly, and they've got the lead by .034. The French are suddenly going like stink, absolutely hammering around the boards at Bercy, and everybody's going bananas. He's gone back to .711. They lost the cohesion then. And if everybody up there in the audience could get on their bikes and ride, there's now .284. What a race we've got here. Look, they're all over the track. They just can't contain it. The Germans still going like absolute clockwork, but they pushed them back now. The French to .858. The French are so disorganised. They've still got back down to .4542. But can they suddenly get themselves together? And the final lap now, it's 1.111. I've not seen it like this before. They go up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. But in the end, despite all the crowd's enthusiasm for the French, who really raised their game and fought their way back, it looks like they're going to be beaten now. 3:42.171, and the gap then 1:723. They're down then just to 3 men. They lost their coordination, and the Germans just kept going like a well-oiled machine. And here we go for the final lap, and the gap now is over 2 seconds. What a difference this machine has made then. They just kept their cool, kept going, and the French, with their typical savoir-faire, were prepared to ride themselves on the ground, but it didn't quite come off. They lost the rhythm, they lost the race, and the German team win the team pursuit. That was some race mid-term. It all fell apart at the seams towards the end. For those of you insomniacs who people have been out on a Saturday evening, whooping it up and have just come in and flashed the old telly on and zipped across the station and picked up Eurosport, this is the Open International, the first night from the wonderful stadium at Bercy on the east side of Paris. Amazing stadium, by the way. If you come across here sometime and see the thing, it's got grass growing up the sides. I'm sure they have to keep the grass cut with some sort of fly mower. It's an amazing stadium. And last week we had the sumo wrestling here, and a lovely cartoon in the L'Equipe magazine today on the back page. It showed in this cartoon a forklift truck with a pallet picking up one of the sumo wrestlers to put him onto the ring where they were fighting, because those chaps were weighing like I don't know, 190, 200 and something kilos. They were enormous men, like man mountains they were. So, and that also filled the whole of the stadium last week with the sumo wrestling. I don't know if you saw it on Eurosport, but it was that was something else too. And tonight they put the track back in place, and we've got the lads out here riding the Open National. More activity tomorrow on Eurosport. We'll be showing it during the afternoon, and on the Monday night we have a longer program, about 3 hours I think it is, from the track racing, as we bring you the final night of the Open National, when Chris Boorman and Graham Aubrey are going to be in action on this track in the centre of Bercy here, where they've had rock climbing, stock car racing, windsurfing too, believe it or not, in the centre of the track here. Ice hockey, basketball, handball, BMX racing, show jumping, motocross, sumo wrestling, judos. They've had it all here in this track. It's an amazing stadium. As now we go on then for the Tour Lance, 8 riders, one at a time, taking it over the course. The Tour Lance then, it's against the watch. 2 laps then to warm up, and then they go through here, and let's see who's going to get the fastest time here for the Tour Lance over the flying lap. There goes the bell. Oh, Mr. Man Muscle himself here, Lars Brown Nilsson, going for that one. And I didn't get the time, I tried 12.8 something, but let's hope we get this one as they two goes away now. You can hear the background, the noise, it's unbelievable. As Choi for France. Well, this fellow Kepper coming on the track at the moment. That bike, by the way, is made of titanium. All the bits are sort of welded in place to take the pressure of this man, who ex-junior champion of the world, tandem champion of the world as well. So Moreno, the ex-world champion for the kilometre, now on his way round. Sorry, Escurudo, the record breaker of the world kilometre champion. He got it at Quito. So 13:42 then for Escudero, who really is not, I think, cut out for this. Now then, Martin Ostheim must be the man in with a shout to get the fastest one here. Very disappointed after that crash in training. After just 3 weeks before the World Championship, I was speaking to him earlier on this evening when he said that he took a chip out of his knee about the size of a 10-franc piece, or I suppose back in England about a 10-penny piece, and had to drain blood out of his knee before he went to Colombia. He rode there, he rode Magnussen, he was in all sorts of pain. He did better than many people thought, and he determined now as Atlanta to go for the Olympic medals. Let's see what he's going tonight in this flying lap. There he goes. (13:06) then. So he's now in first spot at the moment. My mistake about Nielsen at first, he was way outside that. So in fact, 13:06, the fastest time so far for Martin Ostheim, 13:06. Look at the power going down there. Next to go then, Gary Newman, the ex-world sprint champion. Well, he lost out in the World Championship to his teammate Darren Hill. There was no love lost between them, nor between this man and Hubner. He has a really hard determination when it comes to bike racing on the track. Can he, for Australia, beat Ostheim's time? 13:06. Here he goes. Good line, right down on the black line, very close. Oh, he swept a bit too far that time. He's ducked back down inside now, putting all the power down, the finishing straight. Can he get it there? Here he goes. No, 13:44. Well, my watch said 13:52, but I'll go with the result then. Of 13:44. So Nostine still looking to be the fastest on the track at the moment. Oh, this is Man Mountain himself now, Mr. Hubner. He loves this track. It's a nice big sweeping track with plenty of space on it, and although he likes man-to-man sprinting and doesn't like really going against the watch, look at the size of this fella here. Well, the medals he collected as sprint champion of the world, Kieran champion of the world, and this year being part of the three-man team that took the team sprint. Let's see what he does. 13:06 to beat. "36 years of age and still hammering around this track like a two-year-old. The evergreen Michael Hubner now. Can he get the 13:06? Here he comes. 13:41 then was his time. 13:41. Looks like he's gone to second place then. Still Nostine. 13:06 going to my notes here. Look at the power of that fella.